All right. Welcome back to the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. We are only 13 days away from kickoff of the NFL season, less than 2 weeks out from the first Thursday night football game. And we continue our grind leading into the season with 2 pods a week. Sorry for the bit of a delay here. I did just get a new apartment, so I had a lot of moving, shuffling things around this past weekend.
Subliminal flex.
Yeah, subtle flex.
I guess it's a flex. I mean,
I'm a grown
moving.
up. Ugh, just got
moving.
married.
Just moving.
Just got engaged. Just moving.
Whatever.
Little stuff.
For today's podcast, we were back to breaking down the last position of our rankings, focusing on running backs today. We'll be breaking down our ranks, giving our favorite targets, and as always, we'll have some bold takes. But before we dive in, there's been some running back news, starting with the Jaguars. Travis Etienne unfortunately goes down for the season with a Lisfranc injury. Where does this move James Robinson for you, and how much of a nuisance will Carlos Hyde be?
Not a nuisance. Not a nuisance.
At
Y'all
all.
are too hype.
No, we're not.
For an injury.
We're not hype.
For an injury.
We're not hype.
Respect Etienne.
Just me.
I respect him. I'm sorry.
Respect him.
I feel
I
bad.
wish he
but
never would have got hurt. I think regardless, James Robinson would have proved that they should have never drafted a running back. The running back was literally their only strong point last year, and they went out and drafted one. Like, how disrespectful. So regardless, I think James Robinson would have showed out this year, but it is unfortunate that he got hurt being Travis Etienne, but I just think that opens up all possibilities, just like last year for James Robinson when he finished RB7.
I mean, you say that he was the only part of the offense, which he was, but they also drafted a quarterback. So that could give some pros and cons to James Robinson. Will he finish that high again? I don't think he's going to be the workhorse that he was. He was on the field like every down. And Carlos Hyde, when Chris Carson was out last season, he was a solid running back. Matt, you know, because you had him last year, I think.
I had him a little bit for a period.
And he gave him to me. He gave him to me.
Yeah, Carlos Hyde.
I gave him Tunyon.
So
for who?
He's going to be around.
I forget the full trade, but those two were in the trade.
Q, I'm agreeing with you there. I definitely think James Robinson obviously moves up. I moved him up to RB16, right in the heart of my RB2s with definitely RB1 upside. But I'm not sure he gets the exact volume he did last year. Like Matt said, he was literally the only moving piece on this offense last year. DJ Chark was banged up. LaVisca was a rookie trying to get through his rookie kind of nerves. They had 3 different quarterbacks. The team was a nightmare last year. With Lawrence at the helm, Carlos Hyde is definitely a better backup than they had last year too. I think he does get involved a little bit. Obviously not too much. Still think it's going to be James Robinson's backfield. I'm not worried about that. But if Hyde vultures a touchdown here or there, I won't be shocked. So I think he's definitely a solid RB2 with RB1 upside, but I don't know if he finishes RB6 again.
I think he still finishes over Joe Mixon.
We'll get into Joe Mixon in a little bit. You already know. All right, let's move on to the next piece of running back news here. Sony Michel also got traded to the Rams this week, which throws a wrench into both of the backfields. Let's start with the Rams. How does this affect where you have Darrell Henderson, and does this hurt his upside at all?
It does. I moved him down to 28 from 22 or 23. Obviously, there's doubt that the Rams have doubt in him that he can't handle a starter's workload. So that's why they brought in Michel. I think that kind of just washes the whole Rams backfield that don't really have interest in any of them.
I think that the only reason that they went out and got Sony was because the names behind Darrell Henderson, nobody has ever heard of.
Jake.
They just needed
Xavier Jones.
They needed assurance just in case Darrell Henderson went down. The other day, Sean McVay came out and said Darrell Henderson's going to have a huge role in this offense, which I don't doubt. But, I mean, yeah, I think they just signed Sony for, like, insurance. Clearly he's going to take some receiving work, especially away from Henderson. But I don't see it decreasing his value too much.
I don't think he takes away receiving work personally. I think he's more of a vulture at the goal line because he's a bigger guy. But I do think Henderson still is the guy to own. I moved him down a little bit. I have him at 24, still a low-end RB2, high-end flex area. Still think Henderson's going to have some value in this offense. And like Matt mentioned, McVay did say he wants him more involved in this offense. He reaffirmed that today again, saying he's going to have a huge role. So he's still believes in Henderson. He's going to be ready by week 1. I still like him, but I think Sony does vulture a couple touchdowns here or there and get a few carries here or there for sure, compared to as I wasn't scared of Xavier Jones or Jake Funk. But does Sony have any standalone value himself?
No,
Mm-mm.
not even a little.
Nah, he's a handcuff. He's a very touchdown dependent, like RB4 or 5. Definitely not super high on Sony.
And last year we saw they were like a carousel running. They had a different starter and different RB2 every week. So
yeah, he feels like he's going to fill in that Malcolm Brown role, and he'll have like a couple games where he scores a touchdown and you're like, why wasn't that Henderson? But we shall see. But for the Patriots, how does this affect their backfield? Did you move up Damian Harris at all with Sony Michel not being there to burden any carries, or is Ramondre Stevenson, preseason guy, is he more of a sleeper now?
it's funny because I talked to Bart about this because I have Stevenson in a dynasty league. I think that he already had some value because he was scoring many touchdowns in the first 2 games of the preseason, and now he moved up a spot in the depth chart. I don't know what's the chance of him beating Damian Harris out, but he's an interesting character.
Yeah, he's someone I'm just keeping my eye on. I'm definitely not like drafting Ramondre Stevenson in redraft. Obviously in Dynasty, he's a good person to have. He's super young. But I do think it kind of keeps Damian Harris where he was as well. I don't think it changes too much. Damian Harris was already expected to be the lead back. Sony was kind of an afterthought, and that's why they got rid of him anyways. So Damian Harris stayed kind of around the same spot for me, maybe moved up 1 or 2 spots, but I do like Stevenson as more the handcuff for the Patriots.
I do think they both have good value though, especially if Mac Jones is the quarterback, which we still have no
Mac
idea
attack.
who this Mac and Cheese.
It's looking more likely. That's the most recent report.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into talking about our running back rankings. But before we do that, let's talk about our running back draft strategy. So do you guys have to leave your first round with a running back? Like, is that a must for you?
Almost 100% yes.
If you're like 12, then technically no, because you just get the next pick. But should top 7, first 7 people should have a running back, I think.
Wide receiver is so deep, and I mean, like, even the top like 7 to 10 wide receivers, any one of them could almost finish wide receiver 1. So I mean, you have to solidify your RB1 in that first round.
Yeah, I agree. I'm trying to most likely get an RB1. Obviously, I'm at the back end. Those wide receiver 1s are tempting, and I'll just take whatever running backs left on the turn back towards me. But are you guys going running back this year and waiting on round 3 to wide receiver?
I can't tell you that.
It depends.
It depends on where I am and who's
that.
available, honestly.
Yeah,
It's hard to say, like, I'm definitely going running back.
it's a viable strategy, though.
If I get my RB1 and then the swing comes around and say, like, DeAndre Hopkins is still there, of course I'm going to take that. Top 3 receiver in the league, no doubt. I'm taking that all day, every day.
I think
you have to take him.
Yeah, I think
you
if you're doing
take
like wide
Hopkins.
receiver, that's scary because your RB1 would be like Myles Gaskin.
But
Or like I don't think people are doing tight end wide receiver. Like if you got Kelsey, then like D-Hop or something.
And your running backs are still scary.
Yeah, it's so yeah. Running back is ideal, but yeah, it still depends on where you are.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just get into our ranks here. Let's start with the number 1 guy, Christian McCaffrey. Is he a lock at all of your number 1 spots?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. I mean, over the last 19 games for Christian McCaffrey, over the past 2 seasons, so he's only played 19 games compared to 32 compared to everybody else. He's still running back 5, which is just crazy. He missed 13 games. He's running back 5.
You want to know how many
he's ahead of
points a game
Zeke.
he was averaging last year?
It's like 30.
Like 30 or something.
30.1.
Nuts.
That's ridiculous.
He puts up so much numbers. Like he's clear cut number 1 if he's fully healthy. He's just so involved in the passing game. It just takes him another level up.
I mean, clearly even not fully healthy. I think the last game he played last year, one of the 3, like he like did something with his ribs and he still scored a touchdown, had 30 plus in that game.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's a different beast right now. I think you have to take him 1-1 in most leagues. I wouldn't look at you that crazy if you took Dalvin Cook or like Alvin Kamara, but McCaffrey's still my 1-1.
I think I might even look at you crazy if you took Dalvin for CMC.
Yeah, and you're the big Dalv guy here.
Yeah,
All
just a little bit, just a little head turn.
You sure about that? All right, let's get into our top 5s for running backs. Q, start us off. What does your top 5 running backs look like?
CMC, obviously. Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Saquon at 4. Only because if he plays the full season, the last season he played a full season, which was his rookie year, he finished RB1. And then Kamara at 5. Maybe Zeke tied for 5. I don't know. But the only issue with Kamara is the quarterback play. Winston, I checked like 2019, 2018, his years with the Bucks, and he barely threw it to the running backs, Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones he was there too. So
Do you
they're not
blame
that.
him?
Yeah,
I mean,
do you
yeah, I was
blame
gonna
him for that?
I was kind of just like pulling teeth here, trying to find some negative, but I'm
Can't
sure he'll
find
be
anything
using
wrong with
Kamara
Kamara.
because that's his only option for like 7 weeks before Michael Thomas might come back. But he's top 5 or
Marquez
number 5.
Callaway, man. He made a name for himself this past week.
Yeah, we'll see. He could be
Yeah,
Kevin White week 1.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we
Kevin
shall
White
see.
could be Kevin White week 1.
Stop. Don't stop bringing up Kevin White. All right, T-Gods, what's your top 5 look like?
CMC, of course, number 1. Number 2, I think Q's a little asleep. I got Kamara.
Ooh,
It's just him. It's just
Yeah.
Kamara. Okay.
81 plus catches, 4 straight years.
Insane. Dalvin Cook at 3. Shout out, Matt. Number 4, Derrick Henry. 5, I have Zeke. I really like Eckler. I have him at 6. I had to throw him in there, but my top
Yeah.
5.
Yours is very similar to mine. Christian McCaffrey. I have Cook and Kamara flipped, so I got Cook at 2, Kamara at 3, Derrick Henry 4, and then Austin Eckler at 5. And I got Zeke at 6. I put Eckler at 5. I'm happy about it. You saw he's running a contest right now or something where like if
Yeah,
you draft him, he'll get you like a signed jersey or something like that.
You have to
something
win
crazy.
your week too.
And you got to win your week. He drafted himself 1-1, so he's got faith in
Oh
himself.
my God, he reached.
Wild.
Eckler did?
Eckler did.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
He
taking
reached.
Eckler.
Eckler top 5. I'm taking him. I'm
He's
taking him.
balling.
Taking him number 5 for sure. For me.
Probably a free league.
It might be. I mean, I don't think he's that worried about money, Q.
Get right.
Even if it's like $100
$25,000
bucks.
Passive income.
All right, Matt, what do you got for your top 5? Finish this off here.
Along with everyone else, I got CMC 1. Then I got Dalvin 2, Kamara 3, Saquon at 4, and Derrick Henry at 5. And then I have Eckler right outside at 6. I mean, he could easily sneak his way into the top 5, but I have a lot of faith in my top 5 finishing as the top 5.
Yeah, so that kind of leads us right into our discrepancies. So we're going to get into where we have some of us have guys higher, some of us have guys lower, and we're going to talk about why we're higher or lower on those guys. So that leads right into Saquon. So Matt's got him at 4 and Q has him at 4. But T-Gods and I have him at 7 and 8. So what's the difference here? Why are you guys so much higher on Saquon than we are?
I mean, like Q said, his rookie season, he played a full season, finished RB1. Bang.
He's the best running back. Sorry, you can go. But I'm just saying he's the best running back. I would take him over Christian McCaffrey if they both were healthy this season or last season, whatever.
Wow.
He went,
I'm
I wasn't gonna say all that.
Saquon went number 2 last year.
I'm not agreeing with that statement from Q right there. But I will say he missed 3 games in 2019, still finished RB10. He was RB7 on a points per game basis. So, I mean, I think if he comes into the season, gets his body right, even if he takes week 1 off, just come back 100% healthy, he has all the opportunity in the world to finish top 5. I mean, Daniel Jones is still going to rely heavily on him catching the ball out of the backfield. He had 91 catches in 2018, 52 in 2019, and that's when he missed games. So he's still going to get targeted out of the backfield. They added more weapons on the outside, so defenses are going to be kind of weary about that, not too much. But, I mean, it doesn't take a lot for Saquon to find a hole and just go.
And as long as Saquon's healthy, there's already like Holiday's dealing with something that could linger into whatever, and Shepard as well. I saw a report today that like the team that's practicing right now with the first team is a team that finished like 30th overall because all the starters are hurt. They're 30th ranked offense overall. So as long as Saquon's there, hopefully the offensive line's a little improved. But yeah, he could 4. His ADP is probably based off of him maybe missing week 1, but
Yeah,
Him
that's
just-
go ahead, Q. T-Gods, you got it.
QT guys, okay. No, like his ADP's there because he might miss week 1, but that's like you're like undermining that a little bit. Like that's a big deal because if he like rushes back, like his risk of re-injury is way higher than if he just like if he waited. But either way, like I don't want to draft someone with that much risk as like a even in like a first round. That's still scary. Like if I have like 7th pick and I'm taking Saquon, and his risk of getting hurt again is crazy because he's trying to rush back on the field for some reason, then like no, that's gonna be a no for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And we're not that much lower. Like you're at 7. I got him at 8. And I'm with the same reason as you. I'm just a little bit hesitant with the injury. If I knew Saquon was 100% healthy right now, he'd be a top 5 running back for me too. That's where I would have him. But if I was drafting today, I'd have a little bit of hesitancy. And I'd probably draft him around RB8. That's where I have him. Just a little bit more risk baked into that. You're not 100% sure on week 1. That could linger into week 2, week 3. Then you're missing your number 1 guy for the first couple of weeks. It's a little bit scary for me. That's the only reason I don't have him there. Obviously, his upside's through the roof. He was RB1 only a couple years ago, and he's a freak talent. Just want to see him stay healthy, and I hope that he's ready for week 1. If they announce by next week that he's going to be ready for week 1, I'll move him back into my top 5. But for now, I'm just going to keep him at 8, just because I am a little bit nervous, like T-Got said. Like, I don't want him to rush back, but I also, if he's missing weeks, that hurts his value for me a little bit.
Understandable.
All right, let's get into the next one here. Naji Harris. He's currently going as RB11, 15th overall. Matt and T-God said that's perfect. They got him at 11. Q's got him at 14, and I actually have him at 18.
Yeah, I thought I was low. I want to know wwhy you're so low, because now I feel a little more normal because I'm closer to the ADP.
I really like
18 is
Naji Harris.
outrageous.
The thing that really scares me is, number 1, this offensive line is brutal. And number 2, he wasn't that great of a pass catcher in college. He did have 43 catches last year, but that wasn't like his primary role. He's definitely a good running back overall. But I'm just a little bit hesitant with, number 1, a rookie coming into this offense. Number 2, on one of the pass heaviest offenses in the league. I think they are the pass heaviest offense. They have 3 elite wide receivers that they're going to be throwing to all the time.
Elite?
3 really good wide receivers.
Really
Let's
good.
be real. They're not really good.
One's really good.
Would you take
right.
any of them as the wide receiver 1 on the Eagles right now?
Yes.
Not Juju.
I would easily take Juju as wide receiver 1 on the
Yeah,
Eagles.
well, I'm just kidding. But they're not, doesn't mean they're really good.
They're good wide receivers. Okay. They have
There you
good
go.
wide receivers. They're at pass heaviest offense, and their offensive line is, I think, 30th ranked in the league. That offensive line is rough. Najee's going to have some tough times finding holes. We saw what happened last year when James Conner went out, and they had those other guys coming in that weren't as good as James Conner at that point. Benny Snell did absolutely nothing. Obviously,
Worst
Naji Harris
football player of all time.
Obviously, Naji Harris is a little bit of a step up of them, I would hope. But I'm just drafting him more as like a middle RB2 rather than putting him in that RB1 category right away. Just a little bit of risk for me. I think some of the other guys I like a little bit more, like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, are a little bit safer personally.
I think the volume is just it may not be like effective volume. Like he could be having like 30 carries and it may not equal the amount of yards that he should have, but he's still going to get all those
Still
carries.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's all he's going to need.
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to get the volume just because Mike Tomlin's always been a 1 running back kind of guy. But I don't think he's going to get more than 20 carries in a game. James Conner's peak was 20 last year, and they're a pass-heavy team. So the volume's going to be there. I just want to see him get there with his pass-catching ability, put it onto like that NFL level.
I don't know. I don't think old Ben Roethlisberger's throwing as much as he did last year because he was throwing like all-time highs.
Apparently, he's in the best shape of his life, which is
Hell
crazy.
no.
That's what they're saying in the preseason.
Maybe he's like the lightest he's ever been, but he's definitely not in the best shape.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm so low on him. I'm just a little bit nervous. Rookie, offensive line, pass heavy offense just pushes him down a little bit for me compared to some of these other guys. You guys really don't have to defend why you have him at 11. You have him right at ADP, but I understand why you would put him there. He's got the upside to be an RB1. I don't doubt that. Volume.
That's it.
All right, let's get into my boy, Joe Mixon. I'm obviously going to get into him a little bit more later, of course. But for now, I got him at RB10. Q has him at 12. T-God's got him at 15. And Matt has him at 18. Matt, why do you hate my mans?
Because he has done nothing in this league to prove otherwise. Nothing. His best finish was where? RB10.
And then he was RB13.
And then
he's got 2 top 13 finishes. And you got him at 18?
I got him at 18. The offensive line is still dog shit. They added another weapon on the outside just to Joe Burrow, who was throwing at an alarming rate last year. I mean, their defense didn't get any better, so he's going to throw just as much this year probably. I mean, I just don't see Joe Mixon getting the opportunity to finish inside the top 15 really this year.
You know what's interesting though is that since him and Dalvin got drafted the same year, and he's played more games than Dalvin, somehow he's the injury bug.
Yeah, it's true.
But obviously, Dalvin's done more with less.
That was
less
a lot
games.
better.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook's better than Joe Mixon. I'm not going to argue that. But I do like Joe Mixon a lot this year. Like Matt was trying to say, his highest finish is 10, and then he also finished 13 the year before that. And last year, he was on a pretty decent pace. I think he had obviously he had one huge game last year, and there's only 5 games he was able to play. Too small of a sample size to really count. I think you could, if he's finishing RB13, which he did twice with Giovanni Bernard in the backfield and still a poor offensive line, that's fine with me. I think at best he can easily get into the top 5, which I'll get into in a little bit. Joe Mixon has all of the opportunity in the world with Giovanni Bernard gone now. So pass catching upside is going to be higher than it ever has been. His only competition for carries are Samaje Perine and fake Captain America, Chris Evans. So there's literally nobody else in that backfield. Like you said, Joe Burrow is going to be under pressure. He's going to dump it off to Joe Mixon. When he's under pressure, Joe Mixon's I think he has the upside to easily get 50 plus catches this year. That's why I like him a lot.
And I think, if he somehow does what you're talking about, you're getting him at a steal where he's being drafted right now.
Yeah, RB13.
Just because
I got him at 10.
not there.
Gio's not there.
You're
No
not worried
competition.
about P. Ryan.
Not worried about Samaje Perine.
Let
We'll get into
somebody
it a
else
little bit.
deal with Joe Mixon. Do not
Yeah,
draft
like
him.
Sean.
Yeah, let me deal with him. Let me have Joe Mixon. I'll take
You
him.
can take him.
Let me have him, please. I'll take him. All right, let's move on. We'll talk about him more later, of course. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, RB14 is currently going 24th overall. T-Gods and Matt both a little bit ahead of that at RB13.
We're on the same page today, T-Gods.
As usual.
I got him at 15, and then Q's got him at 18. So, Q, why do you hate CH?
I don't know if I hate him, but
You
he's
hated
already
him
coming-
last year.
and I ended up with him on my team too, which is kind of funny. But he is coming into the season with an injury already. You're definitely not drafting him as the guy that you were last year, being like the cornerstone of your team. Andy Reid, we know, likes to throw the ball, and he literally has the best quarterback in the league. So I don't know if he's ever going to rely on the run. When they signed Le'Veon Bell, the Clyde Edwards-Helaire owners were panicking, and Le'Veon Bell still had no impact really, and Clyde didn't do much. He only had 13 or more points 5 times, and the players that I have ranked ahead of him, so 17 up or 17 like 13, I would take way over, as they have more like a certified floor and high ceiling. I think Clyde could have I wouldn't be surprised if he finished top 10 just because he's in that powerful Chiefs offense. But I think the injury already and him leaving last season with an injury, I don't know. And like last year, like all the hype, and I already put a bad taste in my mouth. So
You can't hype up a rookie like that. It's always going to come back to bite you.
and then some people, what was the guy on Good Morning Football that took him first overall?
That was
Oh,
pretty bad.
Yeah, that's bold. He did have 13 plus points 7 times, just as a quick note. Depending if you play
You're
decimals
still
or
in
not.
standard.
I said the wrong.
Depending if you play decimals or
I
not.
just can't count.
But of those 7 times, 5 of those came in the first 7 weeks before Le'Veon got there. Once Le'Veon got there, obviously it had a big impact. CH did miss a couple of games down the stretch as well, but even still had some pretty decent games. So that's why I like him a little bit more. But I'm lower than T-Gods and Matt, so they like him even more than I do.
I like
You guys think he's got the
lot.
RB1 upside?
I
course.
do, and I think it's really just because he's on the best offense in the league with. Sorry, Q. I know that might offend you a little bit, but they are the best offense in the league, and he has no
Doesn't mean at
serious
all.
competition. Like there's nothing to not like except for him not living up to like all the hype last year. But
Or the
if you just ignore that, like you had all that hype last year, he was still like all right. He was solid, and I think it's his second
He was
year.
an RB2 last year.
Yeah, his second year in, same offense, great offense. No competition.
No Le'Veon.
They,
Darrell Williams only had 26 catches last year. 26 targets, not even
Ooh.
catches.
ooh.
So, I mean, like, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be the workhorse in this backfield by far. I mean, he didn't have a single fumble last year, so I'm sure Andy Reid loves that. And he also had 9 rushing attempts within the 5-yard line. So,
How
I
many
mean,
scores?
One.
I mean, obviously after a
One
couple of
within
tries,
the-
they're gonna.
well, more, but he only had 1 on
We're
the 9
expecting some
rushes
positive
inside the
regression
5.
there. We'll
Well,
score. We'll get those
yeah, I
touchdowns.
I mean,
He'll get
it
him.
should be easier to get more than one. You only
Yeah.
have one.
He'll get him for sure.
They should come. Yeah, I like CEH. I'm with you guys. All right, let's move on to J.K. Dobbins. He's currently going RB15, 28th overall. I'm the highest on him out of us. I have him at 14. Q, Matt, and T-God's all below ADP, 17, 19, 20. I guess I'll just start off and you guys can say why you don't like him that much. But I've just had a gut feeling on him, obviously, since last year. J.K. Dobbins, the talent is legit, first-round running back. And now Mark Ingram is gone. He's coming into his second season. Obviously, Gus Edwards is there. He's still going to take away some of that volume. But when J.K. Dobbins was able to get that volume last year, at least 10 carries, he was able to put up a good amount of points on a week-per-week basis. As long as he's getting touches and he's involved in the offense, he's going to make plays happen. He's one of the most explosive players. He's already been making huge plays this preseason and in camp. I love J.K. Dobbins this year. I feel like he has RB1 upside as long as he's able to get more of that volume. The only reason I don't have him in that spot there, obviously, is Gus Edwards still exists. I think that's the only thing
Lamar
holding him
Jackson
back from
is a running
RB1.
back.
Yeah, Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson as well.
The 2 things that concern me is last season, Lamar led the team in rushing attempts. And the past 2 seasons, he's led the team in rushing yards. So, I mean, Lamar is kind of, in a sense, their running back. Gus Edwards is still there. He had more rushing attempts than J.K. Dobbins did last year. I mean, obviously, I believe J.K. is going to get more this year, but he's still going to take a healthy chunk of work away from J.K. So, I mean, it's just hard to bank on him to get the volume that he needs to produce at a top 15 running back rate.
Yeah, he would need to score a lot to be ever put in the top 15.
And he needs to catch some more balls.
Yep,
18 receptions
only
last year.
18. Only 18. T-Gods, love you.
Yeah, he definitely needs. That's the only downside to him is obviously he does not have the PPR upside just because of Lamar Jackson. His first instinct is not let me dump off this pass. It's let me see what I can do with my legs. So that's going to hurt him a little bit. But even
Selfish.
with the volume last year of the last, I think 10 games, he had at least 13 points in 8 of them. And that's with Gus Edwards still there. Everything Lamar Jackson still playing like actually Lamar Jackson got better in the second half of the season as well. So I think he does have top 15 upside for sure. Even with some of the hindrances there, he's going to get more work this year. That's why I like Dobbins.
He's another one that needs more touchdowns.
Yeah, he definitely does. He may become a little bit touchdown dependent just because the pass catching ceiling is not there. Even though he is a really good pass catcher, they just don't throw it to him. All right, next guy here, Q's Man's Miles Sanders.
I love
You're
him.
the highest. You got him at RB15. He's currently going as RB20, 38th overall. Matt's got him at 16, so they're both ahead of ADP. T-God's also slightly ahead at 19. I got him at 20, right where he's being drafted. So why do you guys like Booby so much?
I did move him down a bit. I think I had him at 12 or 13, but we expressed them that, well, I did on the NFC East episode. Sirianni liked using the running backs a lot in Indianapolis. Jonathan Taylor's success, but I also mentioned that there were too many running backs in Philly. They cut Kerryon Johnson, so now they're 1%. The running backfield is now 1% less filled. There are reports I saw that Boston Scott and Miles Sanders could be splitting touches almost evenly, which would be extremely disrespectful to Miles Sanders. So as long as he's worked on his hands, which it's like good or bad, every day is something new with hearing about that. The production could be there, and I couldn't find the stat from last year, but there was like something where when Miles Sanders touched the ball, like he made the most of his carries. Like he was probably top of the league in yards per something. So you just hope that he can be the workhorse that he was drafted to be originally.
I mean, you don't have 3 rushes of 70+ yards in the same season if you're a bad running back. Volume is the only concern here with Miles Sanders. Talent level there, his hands, you can work on it. I'm sure he's been all off season. Just the bodies around him take away so much value from him, and I feel so bad for him. Because if it was just him by himself, put him on the Bengals instead of Joe Mixon, he finishes better than Joe Mixon every year.
Then maybe top 5 would be a thing.
Every year.
Mixon's gonna be top 5. Just watch. Just
Oh.
wait.
Every year.
Just wait on it. That's my bold take. It's definitely top 10. Anyways, Miles Sanders, I'm with you guys. I like him. I just have him at ADP. Like, that's where I'm drafting him. That's where I feel comfortable drafting him. I have him a little bit lower than some of these other guys, just because of the lack of volume. That's the only thing that scares me too. But in favor of volume, I think they have Jordan Howard listed as RB2 on the depth chart. So maybe he still gets a lot of his passing game work, like we hope for Miles Sanders. But we shall see. Jordan Howard might become a vulture.
Those depth charts are just all caps, so I'm not really looking at any of those anymore until like week 1.
Well, that's like the latest depth chart. It's not like the early one. Like, they actually updated it and moved Jordan Howard up.
Good for him.
But we shall see. All right, let's move on to Myles Gaskin. Q, you are the highest at 22. Matt's right there at 23. T-God's 24. I'm at 26. But his ADP is 22. So Q, you're only drafted him where you're supposed to be drafted. I guess you guys can defend him, but you guys are still lower than ADP. What do you guys got?
I'll just say that he did look good in his last preseason game. He scored 2 touchdowns, and he was targeted a lot. He had 4 catches and 70 yards rushing. I'm not concerned about Malcolm Brown. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know if he was playing with the 1s or the 2s. Last year, he was used heavily in the passing game with 74 targets in 10 games. I think there's a risk, but you're not really drafting him to be Antonio Gibson type ceiling. But he's an RB2 with possibly top 15 upside weekly, just because he can catch the ball, and Tua is still unproven, so he could be looking for the dump offs as well.
I mean, as long as he stays healthy, I have faith that he could easily finish as an RB2. I mean, on a points per game basis last year, on a minimum of at least 10 games played, he had 16.4 points per game, which would have been 10th among running backs. So I like Gaskin a lot. I don't really believe that Tua will be like slinging the ball like, say, a Joe Burrow would be, or
He should be, because he has good weapons, but he won't.
he won't be. But I mean, his only competition is really Salvon, however you say his last
Savon
name.
Ahmed.
Savon Ahmed. There you go.
That was good.
That was
You
really
like
good.
that? I gave a little tongue roll
Yeah.
too. But yeah, I mean, as long as he gets the volume, just like Miles Sanders, I mean, I guess it runs in the miles. But as long as I get the volume, I think Myles Gaskin should be straight.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I am a little bit lower. My only concern is the coach really wants to use all of their running backs. And it seems like he's pretty stubborn about it with Malcolm Brown for some reason. So if Myles Gaskin disappears some games, that's going to scare me. But I do still think he's the most talented guy in that backfield. And I think that'll be obvious most weeks. So that's why I still like him as like a high-end flex, low-end RB2 with mid RB2 upside. But yeah, same thing, Matt. Just needs the volume to be there. And that's the only my only concern.
Yes, sir.
Moving on to Javonte Williams. He's currently going RB26. I'm the highest, but I'm below ADP at 27. Q's the lowest at 36. Q, Matt, you guys are both pretty low. Why don't you guys like Javonte Williams as much?
Melvin Gordon.
See, that's how I looked at it. I kind of flipped it, and I'm like, Melvin Gordon. I gave all reasons why it's Melvin Gordon's backfield. As much as I don't like him, bad man. 7 games with 15 or more points. I think he's a solid running back, and I think he's on a contract here, so he's not like deteriorating as much as people may seem just because they draft their rookie running back. But Javonte Williams, I'll give it to him. There's probably some upside, but I think that'll just cause this backfield to be something like the
More of a
Ravens.
timeshare.
Yeah, where the Ravens comparing like Dobbins to Williams, obviously it was towards the end of the season where Dobbins was really getting some sort of roll on fantasy wise in a rhythm. Before that, he was just like extremely bugs weekly. So I think, yeah, I have him ranked at 36 because Melvin Gordon is still the guy.
Yeah, I think the only reason I have him a little bit higher is just because I like Javonte Williams more than I like Melvin Gordon at age 28. And I also don't think the Broncos are going to be that good. I think their defense is pretty solid. But with Teddy Bridgewater at the helm, they're going to be playing really safe football. And Javonte Williams, I think halfway through the season when they realized they probably are going to be out of the playoff race, like you mentioned, he could be more like Dobbins second half season kind of guy. I'm probably drafting him as a flex, like my RB3. That's where I have him, and that's where I would like to take him because he has the upside to be an RB2 when he's able to get more volume. And Melvin Gordon doesn't have the cleanest bill of health in his career either. So Javonte Williams could easily end up taking over this backfield even as early as like week 5 or 6. Personally, I just believe in his talent.
That whole team's going to be a question mark. And I saw something. I remember I wanted Teddy to be the starting, I wanted Teddy to be the starting quarterback. But then I saw an interview today with Drew Lock, and he just seems so defeated. So I'm like, I think I want him to be the starter. But I don't know.
Yeah,
can't be feeling bad for him.
Yeah, we'll see. Drew Lock definitely would give a little bit more upside to like the pass catchers, I think, just because he'll sling it more. But Teddy Bridgewater was able to have 3 top 25 guys last year in that Panthers offense. Well, I mean, Curtis Samuel was top 25, but he was kind of part running back. But still, he was able to support a good passing offense. So he could still be fine. We shall see. A couple more running backs with some differences here. Kenyon Drake. Matt, I think you're going to have to start us off with this one. Me and T-Gods and Q are all in the same area. We got him at 33 and 34. Matt's got him at 49, and his ADP is RB38. 11 spots lower. Why do you hate Kenyon Drake?
He is not good. Kenyon Drake is not a good running back. I mean, like, we saw it last year. He had all the opportunity in the world. He was the lead back on the Cardinals, and we all were pushing for Chase Edmonds to start over him. So I don't understand how everybody is all of a sudden – I'm not going to say you're back on the Kenyon Drake train, but you're like you're above – everyone here except for me is above ADP. So you must have some sort of faith in him with Josh Jacobs still there.
See, that's the thing. I don't have faith in Josh Jacobs. That's why I have Drake.
Exactly, me too.
And they have
I think the Raiders have faith in Josh Jacobs. So
they're forcing it.
It's kind of hindering Kenyon Drake's value for me. I mean, he finished RB16 last year. That's good and all, but he was a lead back. He had all the opportunity in the world, like I said. But he only had 25 catches last year. And I understand that there was another pass catching back there, but
that's all you need to understand.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I think
Kenyon Drake has not been lower than RB17 since 2017.
I think that Jacobs,
49.
Drake is going to be a better value pick than Jacobs, and Jacobs is being drafted a lot higher than. So that's saying something. I think they're a lot closer in the same realm of running back.
Yeah, I agree.
I have PTSD from Kenyon Drake.
Yeah. Kenyon Drake had 50-plus catches in the 2 seasons before last year. Obviously, they liked Chase Edmonds a lot more as a pass catcher for the Arizona Cardinals last year. He is a better pass catcher than Kenyon Drake, but I think Kenyon Drake's a better pass catcher than Josh Jacobs is. They tried to get Josh Jacobs to catch more passes last year, and he never caught more than 4 in a game and only finished with 33 catches, only targeted him 45 times. And they won it in the preseason. They were like, we're going to use him a lot more as a pass catcher, and they really didn't use him that much. Obviously, his touchdown upside was huge last year, but I think with Kenyon Drake now coming in for competition, I think Kenyon Drake is going to be more of the third down guy and also probably be used as the hot hand guy. They paid him a lot of money to go there. They believe in his talent. I think they're going to use him. I don't think they're just going to – I think at worst, he's going to get like 30% snaps, and I think it could be closer to 50-50.
He'll be used a lot more than they've ever used, like Jalen Richard or Devontae Booker.
Yeah, exactly.
They also are paying him a lot more, so they should.
Yep. All right, let's move on to the last one here. Nyheim Hines. T-Gods is the highest at 31. Matt's the lowest at 41, but we are all above ADP at RB44. So I think we're all kind of pounding the table here for Nyheim Hines. T-Gods, why do you love him so much? You got him at 31.
Pass catching ability.
Of course.
Boom.
I don't think this team.
That's all you got to say.
But listen, like,
You're
I
not
don't
wrong.
need that much because I have him at 31. Like how much can I have about a running back that I have at 31? But the pass catching ability is great. Like he's a really good pass catcher, and that's going to be his bread and butter, and that's all you need. Carson Wentz is going to dump it off to him. And who else is catching balls? Old
The only reason
STY
I have him so low
or
is
Sean's
because
man Pittman?
Marlon Mack is back.
Bro,
See,
nobody's
Marlon-
worried about him.
body-
Nobody's worried about him.
But
I'm not worried.
The
I'm
more
not worried.
bodies that they have in the backfield, the more touches are going to get taken away. Listen, T guys, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. We all have him above ADP, so we all love Naji Hines. But
Sean just
the
wants to fight.
I don't think he has nearly as much volume as he did last year.
And I don't see this team being down much either. So, I mean, that's not the reason for always bringing out a receiving back. But after Jonathan Taylor, they could just Marlon Mack is just like the sprinkles on top, and there might not be a real reason for Hines.
I think they're definitely going to use Hines. He's too talented to leave on the bench. He's had at least 44 catches in each of the last 3 seasons and 63 twice. He's obviously, like we said, a great pass catcher, and Carson Wentz likes to use his running backs in the passing game. We've seen it with Boston Scott. We've seen it with Darren Sproles. He's even targeted Miles Sanders a lot. So Naeem Hines, obviously Phillip Rivers was probably one of the kings of throwing to the running back, and that's why he got 63 catches last year. But Carson Wentz, I still think could easily get him 50 plus catches. He was RB 15 last year. I have him at RB 34. Like, I think he could easily be in that like high end flex, like 25 to 30 range. And he's got upside any given week to be a top 24 running back. So that's why I like Naeem Hines. Jonathan Taylor is obviously the guy there, but I still think Hines is going to be the second guy. Marlon Mack, he'll be mixed in here and there. I just don't see Marlon Mack
just touches
carving out a big enough role.
Is Jordan Wilkins still on the Colts?
Possibly, but then he's
Because he had a sort of
RB4.
an effect too.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the role that Marlon Mack's going to have. You know, Jordan Wilkins had between 5 and 10 carries most games. So I think that's what Marlon Mack's going to step into. I don't think Marlon Mack's going to ever have more than 10 carries while Jonathan Taylor and Hines are healthy. So we shall see, but I still like Naeem Hines a lot. And we all do. We all got him over ADP. So
Sean just wanted to put some guy that we could all argue about when really.
Well, there's a
we
10
really
gap
care
difference.
about Naeem Hines that much. We like him.
You guys just like him a lot more than I do.
10 spot difference there. It's a big difference. We're talking about our differences. But anyways, it's enough of the discrepancies here. Let's get into today's sponsor, the Thrive Fantasy app for iOS and Android. We've been pounding the drum for Thrive Fantasy for pretty much a year now. Their daily fantasy sports app, player props, sports betting. If you download the Thrive Fantasy app today and just use our promo code SUPERFB, that is SUPERFB, and you deposit $20 or more, boom, instant $50 bonus. Go check out the Thrive Fantasy app, download it, check out what bets they got. If you're interested, use our code, get extra money, and win yourself some money. At least download it. At least look at it. Look at it. Check it out. All right. Check it out.
Check it out.
All right. Let's get into a little bit more running back talk. Our favorite RB2 targets and our favorite flex targets. Q, start us off. What do you got?
So I wanted to originally say Chris Carson, but I feel like I mentioned him a lot in like a previous podcast about the West. So I went with Antonio Gibson. I think he is like, I'm riding more what Sean said before about him being top 5, but I think he's more towards top 10. I think he's going to be the best RB2 that I have listed as RB2s. The addition of Fitz is only going to increase his role, I think, while reducing JD McKissick's. And there's reports of him trying to be worked like Christian McCaffrey, so that's a good sign. But obviously, they're not going to say they're working him like Booby Dixon. So, if you're coaches are trying to work you like the best running back in the league, then you're obviously doing something right.
Yep.
My flex here though, Mike Davis, Atlanta Falcons, no competition in this backfield. We saw him last year in Carolina with practically no competition. I don't know if you want to consider Curtis Samuel competition, but Arthur Davis
was easily competition.
Yes, but Mike Davis was still good. Arthur Smith came over from Tennessee. We saw what he did with Derrick Henry. Obviously, Mike Davis is not Derrick Henry, but he knows a workhorse running back. He had control of the backfield last year. Like I said, he finished RB12. You just hope that there's no veteran running backs added to this team. They did just recently cut someone, I think.
Davian Hawkins, their undrafted rookie. But they really don't have that many big names behind them. Kadri Allison is RB2.
Yeah, I wish they signed back Todd Gurley. Maybe an Adrian Peterson type guy would go over there. But if not, and it's like it is right now, solid flex, maybe RB2.
Yeah.
Put him either way.
I see a Q. I see the light. All right, T-Gods, what do you got?
My RB2 is a man who can run the ball, he can catch the ball, and he always falls in drafts. Every single year, people sleep on this man. He was just talking about him a little bit. He said Chris Carson, but that's who it is. It's Chris Carson. Last 2 years, he missed 5 games. Little concerning, but nothing crazy. That's why he's an RB2, not an RB1. Past 2
Could
years.
be RB1.
What?
Could be an RB1 if he's
Could be an
healthy.
RB1. Could be potential, but last 2 years, he's had 1,900 rushing yards, 74 receptions, 550 receiving yards, and 18 total touchdowns. He finished as RB12 in 2019 and RB19 in 2020. So he's always finishing top 20. You know, like he's not bad. It's around the top 15 area. But for some reason, he always falls to the 3rd round, maybe early 4th if you're lucky, but usually 3rd round he's going. But I like Chris Carson. I mean, like Rashad Penny, not a
They
threat.
brought him back for a reason.
They brought him back for a reason. This man does front flips and sticks to landing and keeps going.
Oh
He's
my
a beast.
Yeah.
I love Chris Carson.
Yes, we all love
Good
Chris
take.
Carson, but he falls all the time. People just pass up on him. And my flex is a man that I really like this year. Everybody seems to hate him. Everybody seems to hate him, but Kareem Hunt he's solid in this is in PPR. I'd go for him for a flex in PPR because his pass catching ability is very good. And last year he had 198 carries, 841 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I know Chubb did miss time, but he can run the ball too if you need him to. That just goes to show right there.
Definitely.
He only had 38 receptions last year. Kind of weird. I think that goes up a little bit, but he had 5 receiving touchdowns last year. He just be catching and running, going for touchdowns. He had 11 total touchdowns. I know Chubb's back, but I think he could still produce.
He could squeak in there.
He could squeak in there. And Odell, washed. Sorry, had to say it. Odell's washed. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't believe in him anymore. But I think his real only competition for fantasy points on that team is Jarv and Chubb. That's the only threat I see.
And yeah, I still
I'm
don't think
just
they
saying.
trust. I don't think they trust Baker enough to be airing the ball out all game. So why not just dump it off to Kareem?
Yeah.
in
Dump
the
it off the
backfield.
cream. Let him go, man.
Yeah. They're definitely a run first, play good defense team, and Kareem could easily. We've seen 2 running backs be really good together in the past with the Saints, both top 10. I think Kareem could easily be top 20, even with Chubb healthy.
Yeah.
Matt, what do you got, bud?
Alrighty, for my RB2, you guessed it, is James Robinson. The unfortunate injury to Travis Etienne, like we mentioned earlier in the podcast, it's a shame, but that is the threat of all of James Robinson's receiving work gone. Last year, he had 49 catches for 350 yards, just about. I mean, he rushed for over 1,000 yards. He finished RB6, like we mentioned. He was just an absolute workhorse. And now that Etienne's gone, I don't see anybody, even Carlos Hyde, really challenging him for many touches a game. I just see him running away with this starting job that he's been blessed with this year. And like I mentioned earlier, in the red zone, within the 5-yard line, James Robinson had 5 rushes. Q, guess how many times he scored?
6.
Probably. He scored all 5 times.
One wasn't counted.
So when you need to score and you're within that 20-yard line, you give it to James Robinson. He finds a way to get it done every single time. And as far as my flex, recent news boosted him a little bit. Sony Michel being gone helps Damian Harris out a lot. And in addition to Sony Michel being gone, Rex Burkhead is also gone. And in total, that is 146 carries that opens up for Damian Harris to get this year. I'm not saying he's going to get all of them. I'm just saying that's a lot of carries to spread around throughout the rest of that backfield. So, I mean, I don't know where Damian Harris is going in drafts. It's probably moving up since the news that Sony Michel broke. But yeah, I love Damian Harris last year. I'm trying to get him in our dynasty league. Doesn't seem to be working out too well. But yeah, I love Damian Harris this year. He's going to be the workhorse for that Patriots offense. I believe that Mac Jones will be the starter, so Cam won't be taking rushes away from the running backs. So yeah, Damian Harris, all the potential in the world.
Yep. He's going RB32. So right in that
Man.
flex range.
Right there.
No, RB30 as well, not RB32. Sorry.
Sorry, Mr. Technical.
All right. My RB2, DeAndre Swift. He missed 3 full games last year and was still RB18. He's a great pass catching back. He had 46 catches last year. Easily could have 50 plus this year with Jared Goff running for his life. And behind that, their offensive line is pretty good. I'll give them that. But Jared Goff does tend to hold on to the ball, also tends to dump the ball off. So Jared Goff could easily find DeAndre Swift 50 plus times this year. Jamal Williams is a little bit of a threat. He will be involved, but I'm not too worried about it. Adrian Peterson took most of Swift's volume for the first half of the season, all of last year anyways. He's a top 15 running back for me with RB1 upside any given week. DeAndre Swift has all the talent and all the opportunity to be a very solid RB2 this year. And for my flex, I like Chase Edmonds a lot. He had 53 catches last year, and now will assume a bit more of a role with James Conner replacing Kenyon Drake. I think Kenyon Drake was a little bit better than James Conner is personally. And Kenyon Drake got paid, I think, like $10 million from the Raiders, while they paid like James Conner like $1 million just to come play here. So obviously James Conner is going to be involved in the passing game a little bit, but I still think Chase Edmonds is the guy I would want to own here. And he's a very solid flex play. He's going to have a safe floor with the passing game volume, and he's got the upside to score touchdowns. He can break off big plays. We've seen him do it multiple times. Obviously, he's not going to have the biggest volume. He's not a guy that's going to carry the backfield, but he's a solid flex play.
Definitely.
And he's being drafted as 1-2. I think he's going like RB27. So
yeah, there's definitely upside there.
He's got RB2 upside. All right, let's get into our rookie running backs, our rookie targets. T Gods and Matt, I'll let you go first because you guys are going to body the first guy here that we all know and love.
No, you don't love. I love.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
love, but I like him.
You don't love.
I'm probably not going to get him because he's drafted too high for my blood, but he's still really good. I like him. Go ahead.
It's Naji Harris, everybody.
The
Go ahead,
clear-cut best. I mean, he has the best opportunity to finish in like the top 10 running backs this year. He's coming into the league with a full workload. He's clearly going to be the workhorse there. I mean, yeah, the Steelers have known to be a pass-heavy offense, but I mean, that defense is good. So they might not be down as much as we think they might be. So I still see what's his face? Naji Harris. Naji Harris getting a ton of volume. Even in the preseason, every game I've watched so far, he has looked good. And he's usually out there with the first stringers. So maybe not all the first stringers on the defense are out there. But, I mean, he has all the talent in the world to go up against these defenses and produce.
He can be ass, but he's still going to have all the crazy volume. So that can make him look good.
I mean, you could still be ass with volume, but I just don't see Naji Harris being ass.
Yeah, he doesn't. He looks real good in preseason.
Yeah.
He does.
Real
He
good.
does look
He
pretty
looks like a
good.
menace.
Real good.
He does look pretty good. I do like that.
It's strictly volume. It's literally just volume. They think
That's it.
he's going to get the volume. They drafted him early
Special
for a
shout
reason.
out to Trey Sermon, though, because we know Raheem Mostert and the whole rest of the 49ers backfield doesn't have the best history
With health.
with health. I was going to say health history, but I got them mixed up. Both H words. But yeah, special shout out to him.
Yep. All right, Q. Who's your running back that you like of the rookies?
I'm just going based off someone who could also get a lot of volume. Michael Carter, the Jets. I think he fits this team because Ty Johnson's irrelevant. Tevin Coleman's bug when it comes
That's
to
your
health.
boy.
Yeah, I love him, but let's be honest here. Tough flow. And
Tough love.
P. Ryan, the other P. Ryan. I need to check if they're
LaMichael.
related. LaMichael, Samaje. Yeah, I think why not just start Michael Carter, rookie quarterback with a rookie running back. I mean, the team's not that bad, so he could see some work, but he's not going to be the top rookie running back. I just had to pick somebody that wasn't Naji Harris.
Yeah, you could
It's
get some
hard to-
volume,
It's hard to
and
do.
you're getting him as RB4, so you can get him cheap, and he could be pretty solid this year. I don't hate it. Definitely gonna be better than Frank Gore was. So 90-year-old Frank Gore. I'll finish this off with the rookies. I like Javonte Williams. I've already talked about him. He's the younger, fresher running back of the two in Denver. Melvin Gordon was wilding out last year, getting DUIs and missing time here and there with little nagging injuries. So he's going to start off with the workload. He's Melvin Gordon. Like, he's still a solid running back, but he is 28. He's getting to that point where the running backs start to fade a little bit. And Javonte Williams is young, fresh, coming in from a very good college. Actually, him and Michael Carter played together at North Carolina. And Javonte Williams, I like him a lot. I like the talent. He was drafted high for a reason. So I think he's going to get involved at some point this year and be a solid running back. He's worth the scoop.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get to trivia, I'll give a bold take. Q, start us off. What do you got?
Josh Jacobs hate train, all aboard. Josh Jacobs finishes outside the top 20 this year. The defense isn't good, so they'll be throwing the ball. I don't know if Josh Jacobs is really a nice pass catcher, but lost to Aguilar. Henry Ruggs is unknown. The offense is very stagnant outside of Darren Waller. And I think the addition of Drake has a massive impact on Jacobs' time. Gruden's all in the hot seat as well. He could be going after this season if they continue to suck. But they paid Drake, follow the money. That's the quote. And Jacobs very up and down last year. I think they're like I said, they're trying to believe that Josh Jacobs is good. I just think he's below average. And like I said, also him and Drake, I think, are in the same realm of running back. I think you're getting a better value for Drake. So Josh Jacobs.
Can I bring up one thing?
Go ahead.
Last year, I tried to trade James Robinson for Josh Jacobs straight up, and it got vetoed.
What week was it? I don't know if it really matters because James Robinson was good every week.
Week 12, week 11, right around
Who was
there.
it to?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Wasn't there wide receivers involved, though? It wasn't straight up.
There's
It
no
was
way
straight up.
that was
It was
straight up
straight-
and got
It
vetoed.
was straight. I promise. I put it on
Bro.
everything.
Cat.
Why would you ever do
Cat.
Wasn't
that?
Keenan
I will,
involved or
I
something?
will find receipts.
Find them. I need to see them. I don't believe it. Anyways, Matt, you're up anyways. What do you got?
All right. Well, apparently my name is Mark now, but I've said this in the previous podcast when we were talking about the Titans, but I believe Derrick Henry goes for another 2,000-yard season. Back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons. Nobody in the history of the league has ever done it twice, and I think he is good enough and that offense is good enough and run-heavy enough for him to do it 2 seasons in a row. I think the addition of Julio Jones, as crazy as it might sound, it helps Derrick Henry a lot. I mean, boxes aren't going to be stacked like he's probably used to seeing. Defenses are definitely going to be exploited. And Derrick, he might be the best running back in the league if, you couldn't catch passes. I don't know how to say
pure
it.
rusher.
Yeah, just best pure rusher by far. And he will rush for another 2,000 yards.
I like that take.
I like it as well.
Sean, do you like my take though?
Before we get into that, I found the receipts. It was Josh Jacobs and Marvin Jones for James Robinson and Michael Gallup. So Marvin Jones is definitely better than Michael Gallup, number one. But number two, we don't really do trade restrictions aside from people that don't really know how to trade. And secondly, it wasn't vetoed. It was upheld and then cast back out.
Oh my!
I remember talking about James Robinson towards the end of the season when the playoffs were starting for fantasy, and his schedule was hard. So I guess that was what.
That's why I traded him to T-Gods for Chris Carson.
All right. Irrelevant, anyways.
Didn't matter for me anyway.
T-Gods, get yours take out so I can argue right back.
I think I made this take just because, one, I wanted to make Sean mad, and two, I really hate Joe Mixon. I don't have any crazy numbers. I can't predict the future, but I can tell you that Joe Mixon is going to finish outside the top 15 because, one, he's really bad at football. Two, his O-line is trash. And let's see, his best season was 1,464 all-purpose yards and 9 total touchdowns. I don't see him topping that this year. I just don't see it. I will never see it. And he finished number 10. I think that's his ceiling. That's his max right there. That's the max. He's not finishing over
That's the
that, Sean.
best
I'm
you're gonna
sorry.
get.
I don't care
Low
about.
end
blood is
I don't care
boiling.
about Gio leaving and him getting more receptions. It doesn't matter. He's like the team sucks, and everybody's so hype on the receivers and Burrow. Where's Mixon's points going to come from if all that hype is true? Where's all the points going to come from? I don't want.
T-Gods is fired up.
I hate Joe Mixon so
I
much,
like it.
dude.
Everybody
I hate
hates Joe
I
Mixon.
hate Joe
Sean's
Mixon.
blood
He's
is
not
boiling.
good,
I
dude.
am still riding with my boy Joe Mixon. He's finishing top 5 this year. That's my bold take. Everything is set up for success. T-God
Hold on,
doesn't care about Giovanni.
wait. Who's he finished over? I want to hear some names that he finishes over.
Over Eckler. That's who I have at 5.
So you're just
Or
So
over
he's
Zeke.
gonna be
way,
number 5.
dude. No way.
Look, it's a bold take. It's obviously not set in stone. I have him at 10, so I like him as an RB1 this year. He's a low-end RB1 for me. He's finished RB10 and RB13 before getting hurt last year. He gets the volume. Giovanni Bernard is now gone. More passing game volume is open. And what have we guys been talking about with Naji Harris? You're following the volume. Joe Mixon's going to get volume. Joe Burrow's going to have to throw a ton. Mixon's going to be his dump-off guy. He's not a guy that's going to be able to run, especially after tearing his ACL. So he's going to have to dump the ball off somewhere. It's going to go to Mixon. And even with the more passing options, it's going to open up more running lanes because there's less guys in the box. They're going to be worried about T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and now Jamar Chase. Less guys in the box. It's going to be easier running lanes for Joe Mixon. The O-line did get a little bit better. They have 2 solid offensive tackles. Left guard's probably still a little bit of an issue. But overall, the offensive line is decent. They're not the worst in the league like they were last year. They're probably like 8th worst. Still not great, but better than they were. I love Mixon this year. I'm all in on my guy. He's going to be top 5. I've been waiting for so long. It's happening this year. RB13, RB10. He got hurt last year. This is the year. He's top 5. Wait for it.
It's been
Lock
the
it
year
in.
the
We're
past
coming back
3
to this at
years.
the end of the season right
I'm
now.
really scared if this happens. What?
Wait,
I'll be so
Sean.
happy if this happens.
Sean, if he finishes outside the top 15 this year, will you finally give up on Joe Mixon?
No,
You,
this will
you
be
gotta
like
let me
finish
burn his
15.
jersey. You gotta let
Oh
me
my
burn
God.
it.
I don't even. No, you can't burn a jersey. That's
Come
a waste
on.
of money. Chalked.
Just
No, I
buy
won't
like
let
a
you burn
fake
his
one.
jersey. I may be off of the Joe Mixon train if he's outside the top 15 and plays all 16 games.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
If he gets hurt, then I'll have an excuse again. But then at that
Again.
point, he's going to getting older. So he was RB13 and RB10. Like he was already a good running back, and now he has more volume. Why can't he be top 5?
You guys just
Because
told
there's
you.
other people in the league and not just him.
Right.
He's got the volume. We're chasing the volume. He's top 10 for me. And my bold takes, he's top 5. All right, Q. We've been going a little long here. Let's get into your trivia corner. We got 5 questions today about running backs, right?
Yeah, then they're not really going to take that much time. Maybe the first couple. I'm going to set a timer for 40 seconds for the first question because you might need 40 seconds. You might
Okay.
not.
40.
It's really not that hard
Because
because I know the answers. Because it's 30, you guys would say it's too short. 40, 50 might be too long. All right.
Whatever.
All right. So in 2020, 6 running backs finished with at least 1,000 rushing yards. Can you name 3? And for a bonus point, can you name all 6?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Timer. You got a couple extra seconds. I forgot to hit start. And if you guys finish early, just say it so we don't have to go the whole 40.
All right. Well, I definitely have 3. I think.
You get 0.25 for 20
How
seconds.
many did you say? You said 6?
6 for the extra point, 3 just for the standard point.
Fuck, who's number 6?
Oh, 10 seconds.
Fuck. I don't know, dude.
5,
I'm rolling
3,
with it.
2.
I only got 3.
I don't want to hear that. All right.
I
show
couldn't
your
think of
answers.
anyone. My brain
Wait,
farted.
I
you should
named
just name them off. I think you should just name
Yeah.
them off
Oh,
and then
okay.
we'll hold it up.
And then we'll check them off. That's fair.
I know I got
Alright.
3. That's all that
So
matters.
in,
I got
in
1
no
point.
order, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, James Robinson, and David Montgomery.
No.
Got 3, I got
had all of
3.
them except for the last one,
I
dude.
got 3. Just to prove it to you. James
had-
Robinson, Dehan, and Dalf.
I
Me
wish I
too.
said one more. I could have given it to you
I
guys.
said Chubb, Zeke, and Jonathan Taylor.
I said Jonathan
I thought
Taylor. dude.
Kamara had less than 1,000. That's why I was scared.
Me too. I thought most of his yards came from receiving.
Yeah, I thought he had less than 1,000. He did have less than 1,000. Q, you scum.
Was it
Dude,
Jonathan
you are a
Taylor?
He had
scumbag.
932.
Well,
Who
Who
was it?
did?
Me.
Who did?
Kamara had less than 1,000.
You come on.
Come
Oh,
on.
maybe I looked up something.
dude.
All right,
Jonathan
that's what
Taylor
we're
had
gonna-
over
He looked
1,000
up
too.
standard
Oh my
scoring
God.
again.
You
I
were
should
right,
win.
but
That's
Kamara
not
was wrong.
fair. I should win.
No, you got Kamara. That's wrong still.
Sorry.
We all get 1 point anyway.
Said I
Wow.
should win.
You at least
1
got
point
3.
each.
You all at least got 3.
Damn,
got
that took
one.
up my whole piece of paper, Q. Don't do that
brain
again.
cell.
All right. Next question. Let's
All
keep
right,
it
you're
rolling.
not getting 40 seconds for this.
Okay.
What 1,000 yard rusher was on the cover of Madden 12?
Easy.
What?
I'll give you
Easy.
15 more seconds. Madden 12, it was a 1,000 yard rusher. He was on the cover.
I have to be
Then
Yeah,
right.
he said.
Saying easy like this. I have to be right.
5,
No, but I'm definitely right.
4.
I'm 100%
Three.
confident.
This man wasn't even in the league, but I got a right answer.
All right, show your answers. Or not, did you? Payne Hillis, Kamara, Payne Hillis, Payne Hillis.
Yeah, T guys.
I'm Kamara.
Kamara.
Bro, I thought you meant 1,000-yard rusher from last year.
I said 20. Oh,
Said
Wow, they
on
got
the
it, so
cover of
I got a good
2012.
That's why I was so confused.
Well,
Hmm.
tough break.
Whatever.
Right.
I don't care. I don't care. Just make better questions, Q.
they got it. All right. What running back was seen on 79% of fantasy championship rosters in 2020?
79%? What running back?
So the winning
Oh,
team had this
running
running
back?
back on their team. 5, 4. All right, show your answers.
Should have just left them on there.
Kamara, Gibson, Kamara. It was Dalvin Cook.
Oh,
Hey, Matt.
That would
I,
have know.
bro, I
He
was
one
gonna,
of
but
the
I was like,
21%.
Kamara had 6 touchdowns.
All right. This one, maybe I'll give you 40 seconds again, but we'll see.
oh my God.
All right. So it's a guess this running back. I want to give you like his like a small timeline. You'll see. All right. So he's drafted in 2014. He's drafted out of Georgia Southern. He played for the Vikings from 2014 to 2017. Then he went to the Niners from 2018 to 2020, and he's currently on the Chiefs. His
I know it.
nickname is the Jet.
I know it. I know it. I fucking know it.
Me too.
I'm an idiot, dude.
I was torn
Yeah,
between
as-
2 and then one.
As soon as I heard the first 2 teams, I was like,
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
It wasn't the last team that gave it away.
No.
it kind of was. It
mean-
was the last team.
That helped too, but not really. Maybe I'm wrong then. I don't know. I'm scared now.
Yeah, you might be
I'll give you
wrong.
10, 15 more seconds.
Doesn't even matter. They got it and I don't have it. So
All right, just show them.
All right.
McKinnon. Yeah.
Jarek
Jarek
McKinnon. Booty butt. He was good on the Vikings.
he was.
I was gonna add him this year because I have fucking CEH.
He'll probably get
That's,
hurt.
that's really the only reason.
He
I
just
know.
can't stay healthy. Is the only thing with him.
All right. And the
I thought
final
Matt
question-
Asiata at first.
I wish. I
Shit.
wish.
All right.
All right.
What's the
Final
last one?
question. I guess it's kind of easy. What running back went by the name Run DMC?
Oh my god! If you don't get this,
I was reaching for questions. 5, 4, 2, 1. Last stuff.
oh, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
What'd you have,
Darren-
you guys?
Yeah,
Don't worry
Darren.
about it.
Was it DeMarco Murray?
You
I wanna
what
know
did
who
you
it
have?
was.
Teagues? I'm interested.
Doesn't matter.
It was on the camera for a second. I'll
Doesn't
find
matter.
it later.
No, nobody.
Yeah,
you
we're-
couldn't
we're
see it.
gonna
You
pause
couldn't.
it.
Run
We're
it
gonna
back.
pause
You'll
it.
never see it.
He's gonna edit it out.
All right.
This whole question's gonna be gone.
I went 4 for 5. I got 4.
Oh, it's over already.
Yeah, that was 5.
Trash.
I got 4. I got McFadden. Jarek
I'm
McKinnon,
aware. I'm keeping track.
Peyton Hillis, and the first 3. I'm just making sure.
That
gotta come
Hillis
back. I was in
question
last, wasn't I?
bullshit.
2 out of
Open
the
your
3 got
ears,
it
Matt.
right, so I'm not feeling bad.
Well, shut up! You look like Princess Leia with those headphones on.
All right. Podcast is off the rails at this point. When we get into trivia, I feel like I forget we're on the podcast. All right. Let's
11,
finish
12,
it up.
13. Matt's in the lead. You're in second.
Wow.
Okay. Bet. One back. All right. That's it for this week. Follow us on Twitter at Super FB Podcast and on Instagram at Super Fantasy Podcast. This Sunday, we will be doing a mock draft with viewers. We're looking for 8 of you guys. So if you are interested, definitely hit us up on Twitter or Instagram. Make sure you're also subscribed on YouTube. We're putting out more content on there. Follow us on TikTok. We're pretty much on all platforms. The link is in all of our bios everywhere. Just make sure you're following us, Super Fantasy Bros podcast. We will be back. Like I mentioned, we're doing it Sunday, but it will be live aired on Monday. So for the live mock draft, stay tuned for that. And that's a wrap. Peace.